I always play as girls. That's what I do. It's my thing.
All right.
Stop
Well,
knocking on my thing.
Mhm.
All right.
And apparently,
We're gonna
I
start.
always play as black men.
Dude, that's his thing.
Welcome to the Useless Gamers. My name is Dice. My name is Dice. With me, we've got we've got the wannabe black guy Tumult. How you doing?
Hello.
We've got Gobi, who helped us out on our last podcast. How you doing, Gobi?
Well, pleasure to be back, guys. Pleasure to be back.
This is your second podcast. You're not doing too bad, sir. Not too bad. And we've
Too long,
got
go faster. Too long.
we've got Chiko as well. How you
It's
doing,
me,
Chiko?
Chiko.
And so right now, while we record this podcast, we are going. The purpose of this podcast is to talk about what's going on, like what happened with arcade games. And so while we do that, we're going to make sure that we give the greatest tribute to arcade games by playing Metal Slug. Chico and I will be playing it as we record. So, what the hell happened to
shoot.
arcade games, guys? What happened? Where did they go?
Well, arcades
Consoles. All right, podcast is done. We're good.
like.
Finish teacher. Finish
No, I mean, but let's be honest. Consoles had been out, but arcades still had us.
Yeah, yeah.
So arcades were still here for a while. We cannot like what? Okay, what is your reasoning behind saying that?
Well, it's because the technology caught up. But yeah, there were like arcade consoles, but the thing was, once the technology
You guys
caught
have
up,
guns, right?
Yeah.
You can back away and shoot.
We focus on the topic.
Sorry.
Stop criticizing us. We're owning this.
Yeah, you both got killed by the same crab. It was embarrassing. But yeah, the technology caught up. That was the reason you played. Just imagine a world where you could only play Call of Duty in an arcade, and yeah, that's what American arcades used to be like. The latest and greatest you could only access in an arcade, and once Nintendo and Super Nintendo came out, there was no more reason to really do it anymore.
Well, I don't know. I disagree. I don't think that's fair to say. I think that, think about this. When the Super Nintendo came out, right, you could play a lot of the games that were still in the arcades at the time, right? But
Yep.
There was something special about like going to an arcade and playing it. And like I could go with my friends and we could all be in the same place in this community environment playing these games.
I'm going to say this. I think a lot of things... I don't know if... I'm going to agree. I don't think consoles is a good argument because a lot of the time, like back then, people would buy the game on console to practice the games, like to practice their Street Fighter 2 game. And then the arcade would be this arena that people could kind of play together, and fighting games still very much hold true to that kind of dynamic where it's like, yeah, train at home and then, display your skills. Look at what I can do. So, I mean, maybe that idea of offering your ability in a public setting, wasn't as big. Maybe that's what died.
Yep,
dying,
in that case, it was the internet that killed it then. You're still making my point, is that,
yeah, you're right.
Is that the console still put that into. So the reason why you guys, there was this community is because there was no other option. You had to go, if you wanted to say you were the best Street Fighter player in the world, you had to go down to your local arcade.
Chico's so fat.
But
he's a little fatty right now.
but as soon, I mean, you can't even use that argument anymore because now that the internet's out and now that I can just hop onto Halo and then play with a kid from Germany, there's really no point to go to an arcade anymore.
Well, okay, so I mean, following that logic, why are there arcades still in Asia and why are they still so popular?
I know this. I know exactly.
No, wait.
I can address this, sir.
Before we do this, let's give them a cultural lesson. Arcades are not dead. Let's say that in Asia, especially in I would say Japan is killing it.
Yeah.
In Japan, arcades aren't just a thing. They are huge. I mean, some of us have had the privilege to go to Japan, and arcades
Korea.
Yeah.
Even in Korea, arcades are still huge. There's still huge gathering places. There's tons of people there. But it's not just that. It's also like culturally, like old men go to arcades and they have races. And I don't.
I can tell you why they do that.
Okay, what?
And it's not for video games, sir.
Well,
enlighten us.
That's. Okay, but it doesn't. It still doesn't. It doesn't answer the fundamental question: is if video games are dead and with the technology caught up, then why are they doing so well in Japan? Why are they still in existence?
I'm gonna answer this by having you guys make my point for me. I'm gonna try this anyway.
Okay, Socratic method man. All right.
Yeah, what places...
Socratic method man.
So when we lived in Korea, right, we had very small apartments, correct?
Okay, fair enough.
And most of our Korean friends that were our age, so mid-20s to late 20s, where did they live?
They lived
with their parents.
With their parents, exactly, in very small apartments, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So... were Korean guys our age able to get together and play games with their buddies at home? So,
right.
yes, so basically the reason why arcades are still great and huge and big in Asia is because it's literally the only place they can play games with their friends. Like, if they don't have the option of playing Halo in a basement with their buddies. They don't. So they have to go to the arcade to do that.
I'm going to push back on you a bit. I'm going to say that's a blanketed statement. I mean,
that's a very blanketed statement.
No, it's not.
Because you're also not accounting. You're also not accounting for the grown men that also have these places that own houses. Like they can very well do that. I don't.
Ryan, have you ever heard of a game called Pachinko?
Yeah. Oh God, yes, I've heard of Pachinko.
So I mean, I'm gonna destroy this little I don't know, like romanticized version of the arcades you have. It's actually most of the arcades in Japan are actually just pachinko places.
You're right.
They're gambling. Like gambling's huge. Like you can every floor in arcades has a gambling game section. Like there's digitalized horse racing, and when you see these guys who are chain smoking and drinking coffee while basically pretending to bet on horses, which they are doing actually. It's just digitalized and random a little bit, but it is based. It's gambling. It's just legalized gambling.
I mean, what about the advent of like the PC bar? Like, I mean,
it's the same. It's the same way. It's in America we have the space and we have even the money to each have our own little PCs and well, at least with my Korean friends, that was not the case at all. And even though PCs are pretty cheap, it's just a lot cheaper to pay 80 cents an hour to play your favorite game.
Yeah, and all that aside, though, like going back to the community thing, and this is like this is why I wish we still had arcades. Like, and we do, and we'll get to Dave & Buster's here in a second, but. Like, I would love to go to an arcade with you guys and just have fun, and just like, I would love to go play this, like Metal Slug, at an arcade with you guys in that setting.
The problem is, I don't.
People,
it feels like people don't see the need for going out and having fun playing games because it's like, well, you don't need to, but there is very much a need. Why I would totally do that, and I do like. The few arcades that are here, I love. Like there are maybe 3 real arcades in DC where I live, and I love those places. I go to those places; they get all of my money. There's a place here called I actually entirely forgot what the name is. I shouldn't have set myself up like that. But I love going there. And
but you love it.
You shoot the red one.
My favorite song.
You
gotta shoot the red one.
Alcohol and video games, greatest idea ever. Why don't we have them? Now that the generation that can actually play these games can go and buy alcohol, why wouldn't people capitalize on this?
Well, I think there's a couple. You start seeing it a little bit. There's definitely like bars that are starting to kind of cater to that.
Right, Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, Well, Dave & Buster's
even
been
some
around forever.
bars
Just
have
like even
that,
like small ones, yeah.
Yeah, some bars even have like that golf game and like I don't know if that's the traditional arcade,
and it's the culture too. Like that's definitely something that has to be taken into account. It's like gaming is a lot more widely accepted in Asia than it is here. Like
But
I still and we talked about that, like feeling kind of self-conscious about like playing your DS in an airport.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, totally. Like last night I went to a dinner with a new set of friends, like a couple friends, where it's just somehow it's like I started talking about, yeah, I do play games and I do podcasts with people about video games, and it's like these are professionals I'm talking to, and it's like that I just really feel like it had no place in the conversation. They seem genuinely interested.
So you don't have
It's
kids.
like where it's like I'm an adult, right?
Yeah.
I'm an adult. Is this still okay to do? And maybe that's why I'm making content, because I'm convincing myself, yeah, it is. I can still do this. This is okay. If it's a podcast and I can professionalize it my own way and watch Dyce and Chico blow up Yetis in front of me.
Yetis.
We're getting destroyed by these Yetis.
This is what makes me an adult.
Dude, I'm so tired of this.
Absolutely getting destroyed. We should not have come into the ice cave. But no, I mean, now we're making an argument of professionalism. And I took my girlfriend to Dave & Buster's for the first time yesterday, and she is not a gamer at all. And like that, I'm actually introducing her slowly to games, and she had a great time. The thing about games is that they're universally easily to be accepted. And like that's the thing. It's like you can jump into a maybe not a complex game, but you can get anyone jumping into a game. Like
Well, did she like the games, or did she like skee ball better? Like
because I love
skee
skee
ball.
ball.
That's what I love.
Skee ball is an arcade game. We're calling this arcade games. I'm not going to go that far and make a distinction between. I'm vouching for the arcade as a whole in general.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the experience of getting together with your friends. You can do that anywhere and for cheaper, probably.
For cheaper, but I'm saying this as a business experience. From a business aspect. It seems like it's a no-brainer. I mean, the technology is a hell of a lot cheaper. Video games are much more widely accepted. We have a generation now that grew up playing these that are play it for goddamn nostalgia's sake. I mean, we're playing Metal Slug. When did Metal Slug come out? Like,
I think I was born when it came out.
When we were kids.
This is an old ass game. Like, there's definitely a market for it. Why aren't people taking this up?
Really?
If you want to open a bar, why not have an and every bar tries to do that. They throw in an arcade game or two to kind of try to experiment with it.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the maintenance of an arcade machine is a pain in the ass. It's it breaks. These things break, and then you have to get specialized people to come and repair them. And with alcohol, you just never know how.
I'm gonna say this.
I'm
gonna give the lens of my dad. Very much a stereotype. Middle Eastern man owned a convenience store, so just get the laughs in. He had arcade games.
I'm not laughing.
Nope.
Yeah. So he had arcade games in the store. And when you have those arcade games, like, it is a source of money. The kids can't, they don't have self-control. They want to play the games, get to the next level, etc. We had like one of the original Virtua Fighters. I would end up playing it a lot.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
Here's for you.
But yeah, I think the problem is like you get like kids constantly, and I know maybe that's what you want in an arcade, but I don't know if like you've seen kids together in a place.
They're all
suck. Yeah, like kids are.
We still are.
Yeah, like kids suck. They're just like they're destructive. They're loud. And it's like if you're trying to have a place of business,
but they're easy sources of income. It's like, mommy,
I know, but like
they aren't. Disney, at the same time, there is a cutoff point for this for kids. Like you can't get a little kid to pay $1 to play a game, or if you could, he's not going to be there very long.
Right? Well, and like if you go, we have a place here called Celebration Station.
And they're hurting, man.
They are, but like I took some students there the other day, and there were tons of kids in there paying $1 to play. They were paying $2 to play some of those like.
And this is what
really
this
cool
is my
games,
point. This is my point that I was actually going to make. I feel like video games failed because they got too expensive. I feel maybe I don't understand. Like obviously I've never owned an arcade, but it feels like the problem is that your main demographic with games was kids, and kid can't pay $2 for maybe 5 minutes of gameplay. That is ridiculous to ask that much.
Yeah.
If you're marketing this to kids, these kids have
when
a couple
the
dollars
at
best.
The game and they can play forever.
When the parents can buy the games,
but
and they
think
can
about
just
the
play
games
it
that are
forever.
asking for $2.
Yeah, but the reason why they're asking for $2 is because these are popular games. That's why they're doing it, because it's like, oh, you want to play that new great game? It's going to cost you. They're not charging $2 for Galaga, which is still a great game. They're charging $2 for games that they know they can get the money out of.
Well, no,
the experience can't be rivaled, you know.
I think it's maintenance costs. Like, you see these $2 games, they're the ones they have to. With the future of arcade games is giving the person an experience they can't get at home, and so what you get a lot of the times is like Dance Revolution, these light games.
I can't wait to prove you wrong now.
No, dude, those are the games that you're paying $2 for.
Yeah,
ones
it's not. Yeah, you're not paying $2 for Galaga. You're paying for these ones that are like the one. There's a cop game I saw where you literally move your body, it has a motion sensor, and that's how you take cover. And
I was going to say, I suck ass at this game, by the way.
Yeah, and there's a boxing one where you punch in the air.
I'm terrible at this game.
Yeah, and it's exhausting because it's actually like a real workout, and punching is actually really tiring. Yeah.
It's no, but here's the thing.
Turns out about punching games.
Yeah.
Here's
not
the
fun
thing.
to play.
Let me prove you wrong though, because here's the thing. Those games have not lasted the test of time. Those games, they came in like they're taking advantage of maybe the Wii era, but the thing is those games aren't what's popular. When I went to Dave and Buster's yesterday, you want to know what's hot shit right now?
Asteroids?
Right? No.
Ninja
oh my god, what are these?
Ninja Fruit Ninja.
Yeah,
Nipple Run.
Yeah.
Doodle Jump. It's the I am not lying. They had a giant joystick.
It's an experience.
That is not an experience. They're doing, it is not an experience.
It's
You're playing the
same game that you're like
slicing
fruit on.
But these things have like vaginas on their stomachs.
So it's basically it's a Wii game. You're using your hand to slice stuff. Come on.
No, that is, but not.
Can you
not
do that at home?
Not
you can't do that at home.
Not in the Doodle Jump one though. That is literally a giant. They use a giant sliding joystick for that. No, the thing is, they're doing this because these are popular titles. It's never been about how difficult is the game or how ridiculous is it. It's always been about what is popular already that we can get money off of. What's been really another big arcade game that's been huge for a while, the Terminator one, which is just another
light game gun, right?
Yeah, it's just a light game gun.
Right.
And the thing is what you guys are missing, it's not about unique experiences. It's about just getting people to put quarters in the game because it seems interesting.
I think it's because it's a unique experience. People need to justify their expenditures. They can't just be like, yeah, so I paid $5 to play this game. Like, oh, why didn't you just buy it? Well, because you can only play it in arcades. I think that's main...
I don't think that's it, dude. I honestly do not think that's it. I think it's because these guys that are making these games are just looking for new gimmicks, and what they're picking is popular titles, and that's what they're going for. I don't think it has to do that much with the experience, because if it was, we'd have some of these games that we've seen over, and we've seen these Japanese arcade games, and you've been to Sega Land and seen what was it? They had the Initial D, where you actually jump in a You jump in a car, in an actual car, and drive it like it's a real racing game. If it was about the experience, we'd have games like that here. We do not have games like that here.
I would say the reason for that, though, is because the Japanese online games are not as sophisticated as ours. Like, they just don't have... I don't know if it's the infrastructure, or if it's just the people making games, but... The PC environment in Japan is a lot different. If they don't have the multiplayer,
well, dude,
that
you're in the birthplace of like Nintendo, like the PlayStation.
Yeah, but things have not been doing well for Japanese games lately, in my opinion.
No,
like when's the last time you've played a really good Japanese game?
Well, Japan doesn't know what the hell we want.
I've been
That's
playing
the
14.
problem.
Yeah.
Japan doesn't know what we want
14.
at all.
I mean, I don't know if I can even answer that question. I'm already biased. Like, I played a lot of JRPGs growing up, so like I don't know.
Do you feel like they're making the best RPGs they've made like right now, or when do you think that was?
Oh man.
Yeah. That's my point.
We're getting,
okay, you're right.
We're
Like,
getting off topic. We're getting off topic,
Yeah.
guys.
Well, my point though is that when you go to like a Japanese RPG, like arcades, what you notice is that they're online games now more than anything. You can connect to people who are playing it.
Right?
Yeah. It's basically a LAN party. Actually,
I
to
see
be honest with you,
what you're talking about. They have a rhythm game that was
those
really
are the popular
good,
games there.
They had a rhythm game that was actually something like what you're saying, and I can see that. But the thing is, we have the technology.
No, they have
to
the
do that.
Gundam games there. They have like they have like basically they just put you in this arena and then you connect through like the LAN with like 4 other people and you fight each other. Like those are the games that they play.
Which is brilliant. It's the new evolution really of arcades, and I'm trying to figure out why we're not taking advantage.
Well,
we never
because
thought
we
to do
don't
that.
need to do that. We can just hop onto our PCs or our Xboxes and do that.
But you're still not in the environment.
PC
like
you're still not
I don't
getting
think
the environment.
people care about the environment though.
I
think you guys
that...
do because you guys are really hardcore gamers, but I think the average person, which is how you make most of your money, is like average high schooler. They don't care about the environment. Like people like you and even me. I mean, I like arcades. Don't get me wrong, but the average consumer does not like arcades.
Okay, so we've been holding off from talking about Dave & Buster's, and we've kind of like alluded to it. So then the question now is how is Dave & Buster's still going? So what is Dave & Buster's doing?
Food.
The food.
Dude.
It's a dog Chuck E. Cheese, right?
Yeah, it's like, dude, whoa,
It's
this is pretty awesome, I guess, on a giant screen. Dude, footage is fucking amazing, man.
But think about, and this is a point that I wanted to bring up, is like, are we talking about like the greatness of arcades because we grew up with that, or
alcohol and arcades,
and then you add alcohol to it? So is Dave & Buster's like a nostalgia thing? Like, is that?
Yeah,
do you guys think next generation?
I would say you guys are exactly the target demographic, and that's why you think it's awesome and it's doing great.
That is.
Do you think it's going to disappear in 30 years?
Maybe.
I want to disagree with that because okay, so to describe even more, I went to there's 2 Dave & Buster's here in DC, and the biggest one of them is in White Flint Mall. White Flint Mall as a whole is dead. Like it's like a 3-story mall, and it is like there are no other stores except for Dave & Buster's. It is the only thing. Dave & Buster's and Lord & Taylor's is the only thing left in that entire mall. And Dave & Buster's is not doing bad for itself. They're doing quite well.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw some truth knowledge bombs on you. Dave & Buster's not so popular on the West Coast.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, in the East Coast is where it's the most popular.
You gotta find a place that has nothing to do, like Oklahoma. We don't have anything to do. And so like, man, Dave & Buster's, that sounds
$40 in skee ball. Like,
well, isn't Dave & Buster's more like kind of like almost like a fair? Like, I don't know, from what it sounds like, you kind of like doing all the fair games and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, they have
they're
your typical ticket games, but you don't have to. They have the good hardcore shooters.
Yeah.
But they have a little bit of everything. I mean, like,
have you been to Dave & Buster's, Gobi? Have you
never? I've never been.
Okay, so wait, you're saying it's not popular and you've never been?
Yeah, because
he's also from the West Coast.
I'm the target demographic, and I'm not going there. Is what I'm saying. Like, it's not popular.
I don't think it's a problem with Dave & Buster's. I'm not wondering if that's a problem with you.
The first time I ever heard about Dave & Buster's was when Steve McNair got caught cheating on his wife with a waitress there. Like, that's the first time I ever heard about Dave & Buster's.
That's an interesting thing to remember about David. We are never getting up this elevator,
we need somebody to get caught in an affair on the Useless Gamers podcast to get some exposure.
So we can be like, hey, remember Dave & Buster's? It's a thing.
Yeah.
I cheated on my girlfriend.
I was just like, what?
There.
And then, well, I asked, because I was like, what? And then my dad's like, oh, it's big in the East Coast. And I was like, oh, okay. That was it.
Okay,
I had no idea what it was.
I'm not going to take your dad's advice. I think Dave & Buster's is big in general. I think you just have that's my
Go. You should go.
I want you to go. I want you to go.
Sounds fun.
It's a blast.
It's out. You can get wasted and play video games. It's awesome. Like, I want to say this also. You remember playing arcade games. Arcade games are fun as a child. Now, I want you to imagine playing these arcade games with your friends in like a party-esque environment while wasted. Like, it is
I'm sure it's good.
fun as hell. I want all of my
Sounds good to
birthdays
me.
from
Saturday
now
night.
on.
Yeah.
Well, you see,
All
that's,
birthdays.
I want
Dave
all
and
of my
Buster's.
birthdays to be there. From now on, if my birthday is not at Dave and Buster's, it was a wasted year.
Well, all I'm
Absolutely
saying is
wasted.
it sounds good to me. It sounds good to you. It sounds good to everyone here, I'm sure, because we're doing a video game podcast. Like, you know, that's how I spent my Friday nights in high school, was playing Halo, not doing other stuff. So, I mean, yeah, it sounds great to me, but I'm not sure if arcades sound great to everyone else.
Well,
You
I mean,
you'd be surprised the people who go to Dave and Buster's, like the crowds who go there, and the types of people. They aren't, at least here in Oklahoma, what I've seen is they aren't your normal, person that would be caught playing a video game.
Yeah.
They're not gamers, is what it is. It's like it's the casual.
Exactly.
It's like a casual place for you to go and play cabinet style arcade games.
Fucking casuals.
Yeah, fucking casuals.
Like,
so,
that's
in that
that's
case,
where all the
though,
money is. We all know it.
So
it's
is this
fine.
Yeah,
is this like just so is like your argument then is that arcades just need to change their business model a little bit? They need to start accommodating different, like, do they need to start turning into cafes?
Maybe the gaming community kind of exiled themselves. It only got more hardcore. It only got like
that is a problem.
That's a good point.
Where like you get these elitists out there that are like, this is exactly what it is, fighting games. Like, oh yeah, I'll play Street Fighter 2, and then people are harping on, you can't even focus attack dash cancel.
Yeah.
Like, how did you did that like 5 frame seconds too early.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like you're talking to people that are like, it's like, I guess, like a CS effect where it's like a learning curve that ends up being so huge that it alienates like your a demo.
And that was a good
I'll
part
tell you mine first.
Of playing in arcade games, that you don't have to, like, they're designed to jump in and go. What were you
well, here's my experience with that kind of thing. Like, I saw the new Tekken game. I hadn't been to an arcade.
What is this?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, I went to, like, I don't know, this was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was at an arcade, and I saw the new Tekken game, and I was like, awesome, I'm gonna play a Tekken game. And no one was there, and there was some, there's some guys that were playing, like, the Street Fighter game, like, or, like, 2 consoles over. And, like, one of them was watching, and, like, I plug in the Tekken game. I've never played it before. I just want to, like, kind of mess around, play an AI or something. And, like, one of these guys was basically just waiting for someone to do that, like, comes in, just completely destroys me. It was like, I paid, like, $1 to play it, and it was, like, over within 30 seconds. And I was like, I didn't learn anything. I didn't have fun.
That was nice
like,
of him.
Well, it's like, but that's the type of people that are in arcades.
Yeah.
Is it, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, in the fighting community, anyway.
Well,
because,
the fighting community is full of dicks and assholes.
That's not. To be fair to him, like, he doesn't know how good I am at the game.
Oh, he could tell within the first 3 hits. He was like,
but when he put his money in,
ready to go.
He has now invested his money into playing the game, right? So what is he gonna do? Throw the game just because I'm new? Like, no, he's gonna beat me, and then he's gonna keep playing.
Fair enough.
It's the law of the jungle, man.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'll use that to make an argument against so much. Like, I mean, obviously, they're hardcore gamers are the bread and butter of
it's just a penis that came out of his chest.
Yeah,
it is, and he's been slamming it into the ground and just destroying us for quite some time.
Children and hardcore gamers, I would say.
Children and hardcore gamers is what you need. You need casual, but what you need is you need a casual crowd to come in and shake things up. And there are games in there for casual gamers. It's just my problem. You just need to get them in there is what you need to do. And I'm afraid that that's not going to happen because they don't exist. Where are you going to get them in there if
Dice,
there are no arcades?
It was those elitist jerks that play the games that destroyed arcades. You're right. You're totally right.
But you know what's interesting? Like in Korea, at least I saw a lot of dates going on in arcades. Whoa.
It's true.
So that's, I'm not saying that's a whole demographic to, like, pinpoint.
Well, they had a lot of different stuff in. Like, they had, like, you could, like, go and, like, take pictures together, right? And you could do, like, funny stuff with the pictures.
Singing, boots.
You could do, yeah, exactly.
It was diversity.
Punching
diversity
bags.
of the stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, so now let's wrap this up. So the arcades are dead in America. My question now is what would it take to bring them back, or can they ever come back, or are they just gone forever? So
maybe you
we'll
have
start with.
different types of. Oh,
Okay, go
sorry.
ahead. Start Tumult. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you have different types of arcades. You know, maybe have that appeal. Like, I think it's going to be difficult to have those games that cater to everybody. I mean, you could have like a hardcore arcade where like the fighting people go to really display their skills, you know, and you can build a community. So I think maybe try and act on the communities that are there. I'm kind of spitballing here, but like I know if like you have an avid fighting game community and give them a venue to come together to play those games, they're going to come together. Like has Evo taught us anything, you know? So I mean, that's just one thing. If a game has a community, they will come together and play it at a place.
Okay.
But maybe that's too directed. Maybe like you're not going to get more people to come do that. No offense to like the Evo players, but like Justin Wong isn't like the coolest guy on the planet. You know?
He is not. He is not.
So, I mean,
All
I
right.
commend him in his skills, but I mean that's the only thing I can think of.
I
And
don't-
have like, hey, Dave and Buster's, they're more like casual. You know, it's like, hey, come and shoot them up. You know, but I think
Okay.
where you're going to get more consistency, I think, are those kind of like hardcore communities that are in it to win it, that really invested their lives, and that camel has a cannon on it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we picked the perfect time
Did
to
we
close
lose?
because we just totally lost.
Oh, we just lost.
we stank up the hell out of this game. But all right, so that's
That's all right.
okay.
There you go.
So
that's my 2 cents.
all right, so all right. What do you think, Gobi?
Much like the '50s diner, it was like kind of a cool thing that happened for a different generation. So
It's
just
gone?
it's gone. I'm sorry, and
Except for old racists, they love those.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It was a cool thing that happened, and unfortunately for us, we missed it. And there will always be one or two of them around, just because there is a target audience, but it's just not large enough for it to be a major thing anymore.
All right, fair enough. Chico, what do you think?
I think it could come back. I really do. I think that with everything, that is old, that becomes new and fresh again, they're going to have to change their approach to arcades. But I really think Dave and Buster's found a really unique niche there, and I think that if that, I don't know, could be expanded upon or looked into to see like what they could take. You just don't need the drinking. I think everyone's, at least people getting older and going back to arcades, we're looking for that, like, yay, I get to be a kid again for like 2 hours. And so I think that could be capitalized on. I don't know. I think Asia's really got something going. And you got to have those experiences, you got to have those games that provide the experience, like the fun. I mean, the table flip thing, and Sam found that the urinal game. I'm not saying I've opened urinal arcade games.
You got to take it to that next level. Piss.
I think there's still something there. I think the arcade's a magical place, and I think that it's not dead. It's not dead. It just needs to change. It needs to change. Okay, Dyce, what do you think?
You know what? I will say this. Gobi might have a point. Like many things. Well, here's the thing. Like many things, it won't be the way it was before. I think arcade style games, cabinets are still going to exist because they're easy ways to make money. Like they're going to exist in movie theaters. They're going to be the odd business person who just throws it up in a mall. Well, actually, malls are dying now too, so never mind.
True.
Thanks to Amazon.
Just all these.
Oh no,
Amazon
We're getting
money.
old and everything we love is dead. No, well, that's the takeaway. No, I think arcade style games are going to come around, and I salute the guys who are like, I'm going to build an arcade and see what happens. And I think the thing is those are going to keep happening, and they're going to be a few pioneers that keep doing it. And I think eventually it might come back. It won't come back the same way it did before, but it'll come back with something else behind it. Either it'll stay strong with movie theaters, maybe you can find something else to attach it to. But I don't think I like the style of arcade game in an arcade is designed well to make money. It just needs to become cheaper. They need to obviously have people making games. I know all the stuff's coming out of Japan now. We need a market for it, and we need more casual games. Maybe that's why I shouldn't make so much fun of the mobile market. But
I think the mobile market is the new arcade.
It might be the new arcade.
Maybe if we learn anything from Dave and Buster's.
If we've learned anything from Dave and Buster's,
Exactly.
it is
Doodle Jump.
And that was the game my girl wanted to play the most. She's like, "Oh, I want to go play Fruit Ninja," and I'm like, "Well,
it's fucking big now."
She wants to play a game, so as much as I don't like that style, maybe it's time for an evolution. Arcades can come back.
Maybe we're elitist. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe we're the elitist. Why do we want arcades, old school arcades, to come back? We should let something new happen.
Get Fruit Ninja out of my arcade.
There you go. we are, and let's be honest. This is a dad argument. This is in my day.
It's true. Are we gonna start romanticizing about roller rinks pretty soon here?
I've got rollerblades, Dad. No, it's only the 4 wheels.
Yeah.
But it can come back, and it will, because games are popular now, and they can make a resurgence, but it won't be the same as it was before. And that's my 2 cents. So I think that's where we stand on the state of arcade games in America.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel as pessimistic and as hopeless as you did when we started this?
I'm gonna stick to PC, the Master Race.
There you go. All right. Well,
I'm gonna go play some skee-ball. Yeah, this whole thing just made me really want to play skee-ball.
Jonesing for skee-ball.
Yeah, I just need some skee-ball in my life.
This conversation just made me sad. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's probably good.
You should play some skee-ball.
That's what I learned.
Cry.
Well, we've been the Useless Gamers, and we hope we didn't depress you guys too much. But you're getting old, so grow up.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been the Useless Gamers.
Get a real job. Shut up, Dad.
We've been the Useless Gamers. Peace out. Keep gaming, guys. Take it easy.
Woo.